Hello everyone, QGIS is the most powerful tool to analyze, visualize, and process the most complex geospatial data. In these few minutes, I'm going to show you the best tricks that I use in a day-to-day basis to help you save time, look more professional at your workplace, and even in your workflows.
Filtering layers instead of deleting them, so your layer will only show a certain data without losing original data. Using the query builder, you double click on your layer and then you go to source query builder, and then you select the region or any data that depending on the fields, for instance region names, and then all equals to for instance Dodoma, and then I say okay, apply. Okay, so I will only see the Dodoma without losing the original data. Number 2 is to use the field calculator and create the new field and perform some operations. For instance, you can create the area, you can create the length, or you can do the custom classifications. I'm going to show you on how you can create the area. You go to the field calculator, and then you create the column for the area. You can just choose the field type as the decimal, as you expect to have some decimal points, and then you create this expression for area as you go. And then if you open our attribute table, now we have the new area. You might be performing one of the operations, for instance geometry, and then you are creating the centroids, and then if you run, it tell you that okay, some blah 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 has invaried features. How to do the on-fly geometry fixing? You go to the toolbox, processing toolbox, open it, open the processing toolbox. Here it opens, and then you can just search fix geometries. Here it is, and then you can just fix the repair method is either the structure or the line work. Keep the structure. You can save or you can just leave it on the tempo folder. Just run, off you go. Your features has been fixed. If you try to rerun the previous operations, for instance running the centroids using the fixed geometries, not this one, the fixed geometries, I see you have performed. You have performed your layer styling, you have performed your labeling and everything, and then you have the similar layer, and then you don't want to do the whole of spell and everything, to do the triangular line colors and everything. What you can do is just drag and drop that style to another layer. You just right click and then you go to styles, copy all the styles, and then you go to another layer that you want, this one for instance, right click, styles, and then paste all the properties. So if I uncheck this one, I have the similar color and properties of from the previous layer. Selection by expression. This is the coolest feature without manually ongoing selections of features like this. What you need to do, you go to your attribute table and go to expression and then you go to field and attributes, and then you can just select the name of the fields on the field and values. You can list all, and you can say which one do you want, for instance the Dodoma, and then you select the features. Off you go. Your map has been selected automatically. Okay, furthermore, you can use more of the information that is given to you in the attribute table. For instance, you can select by expression using the population. Ever since I don't have the population data, let me create one. You go to the attribute table, and then you open the field calculator, and then we create a column, new column for a new field for the population, calling that population. And then I can just randomly provide the population. If you want the bigger area to have the bigger population, which is a more realistic, and then you can use this expression that area earlier. For instance, I'm dividing by 10, and then I am just rounding it to from maybe from 0 to 5,000. But we can just choose any random number, and then it just say okay. You see, I have the new column for population. From this, I can just select by expression using this data that I have here. How to do it? You go to the expression, and then you go to the field and values, select population, and then for instance I can say from this population, the population which is larger than 5 maybe 500 or 50,000, and then you just select that. To your map, you will see okay, this has been highlighted out of these ones. So using the expression, we have managed to have this kind of data. Thematic mapping. So you might want to show the malaria prevalence. You might want to show the malaria prevalence, access of water, education level, poverty penetration, or whatever anything that you might have. And you might have that in your column. What you need to do is just do the categorization or the graduated one. For instance, categorized, you use the value depending. The categorized uses the text based. The graduated one uses the values based. So for categorized one, you go for the value, and then for instance, the region name, and then you just do the classification. Off you go. If you say apply, okay, you have this beautiful map being presented. Or else you can use the graduated one. If you use the graduated one, for instance, they are using the same color, using same color of different values. You must know that. Come here, and then you do the population one, and then you do the classification, and then apply. Okay, so the higher the color, the higher the number. The dimmer the color, the less the number. There you go. Okay, now this is the beautiful map. With a single color, you can represent a range of activities. For instance, malaria prevalence, access to education, to whatever theme that you may be representing. But assume if you just want to represent only two distinct levels, for instance, high and low, or you have a more predefined areas or classes. So you can do that by using the lure based classification. How we do it? You go to the symbology, and then you go to lure based, okay, to symbology, and then to lure based, and then you can add there are two levels. For instance, let me add one, for instance, high, and then I'm adding another one for low, and then I'm adding another one for medium. So you can just arrange them a high, low, low, medium, and high, and then you can say that okay, with this low, we are looking for the population. We are looking for the population that is higher than maybe 100 million people. Okay, you can copy this just to increase the speed, and then you go to medium. For instance, I say 3 million, 300 million people, and then this could be 7 million 100 people. Right, and then you do the application. Okay, you see. So you have a more classified, a more localized, more than the one that we had that was using one color from high to low. But using the values that you have, you can select, and then you can use the load based to have your classes depending to your themes. This is very good for thematic mapping and to show, for instance, malaria prevalence, weather forecasting, poverty, or whatever theme that you may be trying to represent. Okay, and my last trick today is to show you on how you can center your labeling on features that you may have. The easiest way to do that is to generate centroids and then label on those centroids. For instance, here are my fixed geometries. I go to vector and then geometry tools, and then I generate centroids for all my features. And then what I do is just populate the labels on these centroids instead of putting the labels on the features themselves. As I do, I go to the labels and then I can do the simple labels. I can even concatenate, add more fields, for instance, region name and concatenation with and then enter the line field and values, add maybe the population, and then I can concatenate also with for instance area. So, and then I can simply add here expression of concatenation. There you go. Okay, so you have the name. So now you will have the name of the region, you have the population and the area. Also, you can customize this in adding more text into it. Okay, you can add a more description on the text here, like adding more customized text. Like this is the population, and then I add the word population. Population. You can add the population. What is not happening? Population. You see, and then I can just space here, and then you come here on the area, add the concatenation, and then area. Okay, you can just space it by clicking here, more spaces if you want. Okay.